The moment baby sea turtles hatch, they're already surrounded. The sand beneath them is crawling with crabs. Birds patrol the sky like drones waiting for movement. And somewhere beyond the waves, entire schools of fish are already hunting. Out of thousands born on a single beach, almost all of them will die. Some won't survive 5 minutes. Others will crawl in the wrong direction and disappear forever. Because for baby sea turtles, life doesn't begin with safety. It begins with a massacre. The hatchlings don't emerge one by one. They erupt from the sand all at once. Hundreds of tiny sea turtles scrambling in every direction, kicking sand into the air as they race toward a glow they instinctively trust. And for a few seconds, the beach almost looks peaceful. Then everything starts moving. Bird shadows sweep across the sand. Crabs burst from hidden tunnels like the ground itself is alive. Dark shapes sprint along the shoreline waiting for movement. The entire beach suddenly transforms into a feeding ground. And the hatchlings have no idea. They're born exhausted. Barely able to crawl. Their flippers weren't designed for land, yet they have to cross what is basically a battlefield filled with predators. Some disappear underground before they ever see the ocean. Others are snatched from above so fast the sand barely settles afterward. In large hatchings, the chaos becomes overwhelming, wings exploding overhead, crabs fighting over bodies, hatchlings scattering in every direction at once. For predators, this isn't random. It's feeding time. And the terrifying part is, sea turtles evolved around this massacre. A single mother can lay more than 100 eggs because nature already expects almost all of the babies to die. Flood the beach with enough hatchlings, and maybe a few survive long enough to reach the waves. To humans, it looks tragic. To the beach, it's survival. But somehow, the ocean is even worse. From the beach, the water looks safe. Calm. Endless. Like the hatchlings are finally escaping the nightmare behind them. And that illusion lasts for maybe a few seconds. Then the attacks begin. The moment baby sea turtles hit the waves, predators start coming from below. Fish explode out of the darkness. Needle-like mouths snap through the water. Shadows move underneath the hatchlings faster than they can swim. Some turtles disappear instantly. No struggle. No sound. Just gone. Others only make it a few feet before getting dragged underwater. And because the hatchlings are so small, almost everything in the ocean can eat them. Large fish. Birds diving from above. Even animals that normally wouldn't bother hunting suddenly join the frenzy. The ocean doesn't welcome baby sea turtles. It overwhelms them. Waves slam them backward toward shore while currents pull them sideways into open water. Exhausted hatchlings tumble through floating seaweed, completely exposed, trying to survive long enough to reach deeper currents where fewer predators wait. And this is the part that sounds almost fake. Scientists estimate that out of thousands born, most die within the first few hours or days of entering the ocean. Not because they're weak. Because the survival odds are almost impossible. For baby sea turtles, reaching the water was never the finish line. It was the beginning of a much larger nightmare. And then humans made the survival odds even worse. For millions of years, baby sea turtles used the moon to find the ocean. The brightest horizon meant water. Survival depended on it. But coastlines don't look like that anymore. Now the beaches glow with hotels, streetlights, restaurants, highways, and beachfront houses bright enough to overpower the night sky itself. And when the hatchlings emerge from the sand, many of them make a fatal mistake. They crawl toward the city. Thousands move inland every year, slowly dragging themselves across parking lots, roads, sidewalks, and empty streets instead of toward the water. Tiny turtles wandering through human civilization like they took a wrong turn into another world. And almost none survive for long. Some collapse from exhaustion before sunrise. Others dehydrate under the heat of the morning sun, baking alive on concrete and asphalt. Cars crush them before drivers even notice they're there. Predators follow the lights too, turning entire coastlines into artificial hunting grounds. The cruelest part is that the turtles aren't lost. Their instincts are still working exactly the way nature designed them to. Humanity just replaced the moon with neon signs and traffic lights. And every glowing coastline creates the same deadly illusion. To a baby sea turtle, the city looks more like the ocean than the ocean itself. And the few hatchlings that survive all of this eventually disappear. Not metaphorically. Literally. They vanish into the open ocean for years, entering a phase scientists still call the lost years because nobody fully knows where most young sea turtles go, or how they manage to stay alive at all. Imagine being born into a world trying to kill you from every direction, and then getting dropped into an ocean so large it can swallow entire species without leaving evidence behind. That's what these turtles face within the first days of life. Out there, there are no beaches. No shelter. No parents. No protection. Just endless water stretching farther than the hatchlings could possibly understand. Storms can throw them across entire currents. Predators still hunt them constantly. Floating plastic drifts through the water disguised as food. And somewhere beneath them, the deep ocean drops into darkness so massive it barely feels like Earth anymore. And yet, some survive. Tiny turtles no bigger than a human hand somehow cross parts of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans alone. Riding currents. Hiding in floating seaweed. Drifting through a world large enough to erase them forever. Most never come back. But the few that do return years later are no longer hatchlings. They're survivors of one of the most impossible childhoods in the animal kingdom. But surviving predators doesn't protect sea turtles from the ocean itself. Because now the water is filling with something far deadlier than sharks. Plastic. And to a hungry young sea turtle drifting through open water, floating plastic can look almost identical to jellyfish, one of their natural food sources. The shape is similar. The movement is similar. Even the way it floats through currents tricks their instincts completely. So they eat it. Plastic bags. Fragments. Transparent trash barely visible beneath the surface. Tiny hatchlings swallow pieces that their bodies can't process, can't digest, and can't remove. Their stomachs slowly fill with garbage while the turtles continue starving to death internally. And the terrifying part is how normal this has become. Entire sections of the ocean now contain so much floating waste that some sea turtles encounter plastic almost immediately after entering the water. A survival system built over millions of years is suddenly failing because the ocean itself no longer behaves naturally. Some turtles become too weak to dive. Others stop eating entirely because their stomachs already feel full. Many die slowly, drifting through currents with bodies packed with trash instead of food. The ocean used to hide predators. Now it hides poison disguised as survival. And after all of this, almost none of them make it. That's the real horror hiding underneath the entire species. A single sea turtle can lay over 100 eggs at once. Some mothers produce thousands across their lifetime. At first, that sounds excessive. Almost unfair. Until you realize why nature does it. Because the ocean fully expects nearly all of them to die. Scientists estimate that only around 1 in 1,000 hatchlings will survive long enough to become an adult. In some places, the odds may be even worse. Think about that for a second. A beach can explode with life one night, hundreds of tiny turtles racing toward the water, and statistically, almost every single one of them is already doomed. Not weak. Doomed. The crabs take some. Birds take others. Fishy race entire groups before sunrise. Human lights pull thousands away from the ocean. Plastic poisons the survivors drifting through the currents. And the few still alive must survive years alone in an ocean large enough to erase them forever. Nature built sea turtles around mass death. That's why the hatchlings emerge together. It's not strategy. It's sacrifice. The species survives by overwhelming predators with bodies, hoping that maybe a few turtles slip through the chaos unnoticed. And somehow, against odds that sound mathematically impossible, a tiny number actually do. Not because nature was kind to them. Because for one impossible moment, they survived something almost nothing else could. And then, decades later, the survivors come back. After crossing entire oceans. After storms powerful enough to drown ships. After years spent drifting through predators, plastic, fishing nets, and waters large enough for entire generations to disappear without a trace. A few sea turtles somehow find their way home. To the exact same beach where the nightmare started. Scientists still don't fully understand how they do it. Some appear able to sense Earth's magnetic field itself, navigating across thousands of miles of open ocean with an accuracy that sounds almost impossible. No maps. No guidance. Just instinct pulling them back toward a place that tried to kill them the moment they were born. And under the darkness of the same shoreline, the survivors crawl slowly onto the sand once again. Older now. Scarred. Massive compared to the hatchlings they used to be. Then they begin digging nests. Because despite everything the ocean took from them, despite the impossible odds, despite the millions that never returned, the survivors still lay their eggs in the same deadly place where their lives began. And soon, beneath the sand, hundreds of tiny hatchlings will start moving again. Toward the moonlight. Toward the waves. Toward the massacre waiting on the beach. Because for sea turtles, survival was never the point. The cycle was, honestly, after making videos about nature for years, sea turtles are still one of the few animals that genuinely feel unreal to me. Most creatures fight to survive. Baby sea turtles are born into a system that almost guarantees they won't. And somehow, a few still cross entire oceans and make it back home decades later. That's what makes nature so terrifying, but also weirdly beautiful. Survival isn't always about strength. Sometimes it's just about enduring long enough to become the impossible survivor nobody expected. And honestly, the fact that humans have made this journey even harder is probably the saddest part of the entire story. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more brutal and unbelievable survival stories from nature. And let me know in the comments. What animal do you think has the hardest life on Earth? Because after this video, sea turtles have to be near the top.